You know, sometimes the most important places in a city's history, they aren't the giant monuments or the fancy museums. Nope, they're the everyday spots where people just came together. Today, we're going to unlock the story of New York City's lost social clubs, the automats and cafeterias that were, for a long time, the real heart of the city.
I mean, just let that sink in for a second. The Statue of Liberty, Madison Square Garden, and a cafeteria where you got pie out of a little glass box. That's how huge these places were in the culture of New York. They weren't just a place to grab a bite, they were landmarks. Okay, so let's get into it. What in the world was an automat? Well, for New Yorkers back in the early 20th century, walking into one felt like stepping right into the future. It was this totally new, kind of magical way to eat. The whole idea actually came from Germany, but it was these two guys, Joseph Horn and Frank Hardart, who really perfected it. They brought it to the US in 1902, and then bam, to New York's Times Square in 1912. The concept was just brilliant. Really good food, served instantly, and no waiters needed. The whole process was so incredibly simple. But you have to imagine how new this was. A whole wall of these shiny chrome and glass boxes, and in each one, a perfect slice of pie or a hot plate of mac and cheese. You'd pop your nickels in, turn this beautiful little porcelain knob, and click, the door unlocks, and it's all yours. It was like dinner and a magic show all rolled into one. And this was the price of admission. Just a nickel, 5 cents for a cup of fresh brewed coffee that came pouring out of this ornate dolphin-shaped spout. Seriously. And Horn and Hardart's coffee was the stuff of legend. They brewed a fresh pot every 20 minutes. This amazing price point was the key. It was democratic. Absolutely everyone was welcome. But here's the thing, the real story. The reason we still talk about these places, it goes way beyond the food. It's about what happened at the tables. The automats and the cafeterias became so much more important than just a place to eat. And this right here is the heart of it all, the idea of the third place. Think about it. Home is your first place. Work is your second. But that third place, that's where the community really happens. It's those spots where we connect with each other. And for millions of New Yorkers, automats and cafeterias were that third place. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? It wasn't about eating and running. It was about settling in. For the price of one coffee, you had a table for hours. It became the city's living room. A place to talk, to argue, to dream, or just to sit and be around other people. I mean, just look at this list of people you'd find at one famous spot, Dubrows Cafeteria. This wasn't some exclusive club, it was just New York. You had people from every single walk of life, all sharing the same space. Where else on earth would you find a Holocaust survivor telling their story next to a bookie taking bets? It was incredible. So let's go on a little tour of a few of these legendary spots, because each one had its own vibe, its own unique cast of characters, and its own special place in the city's heart. First stop, the Belmore, down on Park Avenue South. This place was open 24/7, and you always knew you were close when you saw the line of yellow cabs parked out front. It was the unofficial headquarters for the city's cabbies, so iconic, it was actually in the classic 1976 movie, Taxi Driver. Then, if you went over to the Lower East Side, you'd find the Garden Cafeteria. It was right next door to the offices of the Jewish Daily Forward newspaper, so it became this major hub for writers and intellectuals. Even the Nobel Prize winner Isaac Bashevis Singer was a regular there. He actually set one of his short stories inside its walls. And then you had Life Cafeteria down in Greenwich Village. It had these huge windows right on the street, and it became this incredibly visible and important gathering spot for the city's bohemian and LGBTQ+ communities. This was at a time when safe spaces like that were few and far between. It was a place to see and be seen, and it drew in artists like Tennessee Williams. And Dubrows, wow, it wasn't just a social hub. It was practically a stage for American history. A young JFK held a campaign rally right outside. Baseball legend Sandy Koufax announced he was joining the Dodgers there. It was a place where huge, history-making moments happened right next to people just eating their daily blintzes and coffee. So the big question is, if these places were so loved, so woven into the fabric of the city, what happened? Where did they all go? Well, as you can see, it wasn't one thing. It was this slow, kind of heartbreaking decline through the 70s and 80s. Rents were going up, modern fast food chains were moving in, the whole city was changing. And one by one, the lights went out, ending with the very last Horn and Hardart closing its doors for good in 1991. Just like that, an era was over. But, and this is the really cool part, Even though the actual places are gone, the idea of the automats and the community that it created, it still echoes today. The legacy is surprisingly alive and well.
We see it all over the place. In pop culture, you've got these perfect recreations in shows like The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, trying to capture that old New York magic. You can read about them in classic books, and you even see it influencing modern restaurants that are bringing back that high-tech self-service vibe for a whole new generation. We're still fascinated by it.
And that kind of leaves us with this one big thought. The automate was a product of its time, right? Perfect for a bustling city where everyone walked. But today, we get food delivered to our door, and we connect through our screens. And it really makes you wonder, what are our third places now? And in this rush for total convenience, what vital community spaces are we maybe losing without even realizing it?